The Champions League knockout stage has officially kicked off, and right from the first legs, fans around the world are in for a real spectacle. 4 clubs with European titles to their name, 4 domestic powerhouses, and a handful of fiery rivalries are about to deliver 2 unforgettable nights. All eyes are on the likes of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, and Barcelona. And Cindaria. Each team comes with its own story, its own dreams, but they all share one goal: lifting that prestigious silver trophy. The quarterfinal action begins with a clash of titans: Bayern Munich vs. Inter Milan, kicking off at 8 p.m. BST on Tuesday, April 8, 2025. Get ready, football fans, because this one's set to be a barn burner. Both sides are in top form, and the history between them is loaded with drama, most notably that unforgettable Champions League final in 2009-10. Bayern Munich are currently dominating the Bundesliga. They just demolished Bayer Leverkusen 5-0 and have now reached the Champions League quarterfinals for the 23rd time. Their fortress, the Allianz Arena, remains unbeaten in 22 consecutive UCL matches. But it's not all smooth sailing for the Bavarians. Manuel Neuer is still a question mark, and both Alphonso Davies and Dayot Upamecano are dealing with injury. Leon Goretzka remains sidelined long-term. Thankfully for Bayern, Harry Kane is on a tear, having already scored 10 goals in this Champions League campaign. Alongside Thomas Müller, he'll be leading the charge up front. On the other side, Inter Milan are no slouches either. The reigning Serie A champions boast one of the stingiest defenses in Europe, conceding just 2 goals in 10 UCL matches, the best record among teams with at least 10 appearances. In the round of 16, they knocked out Feyenoord with an aggregate score of 4.1, thanks to stellar performances from Marcus Thuram and Hakan Calhanoglu. However, a disappointing 2-2 draw against Parma over the weekend after leading by 2 revealed some cracks, especially on the road. They'll also be without key defenders, with Alessandro Bastoni nursing a knee injury and Mehdi Taremi, Piotr Zielinski, and Denzel Dumfries all ruled out. Historically, these two sides have faced off 9 times in European competition, with Bayern winning 5 and Inter 3. But when it comes to knockout rounds, Inter have had the upper hand, eliminating Bayern in the 2010 final and again in the 2010-11 round of 16 group. The last time they met was in the 2022-23 group stage, where Bayern took both games 2-0. Inter will be out for revenge. Bayern are eyeing a domestic European double, while Inter are chasing continental glory for the first time in 15 years. Expect fireworks. Meanwhile, over at the Emirates, another blockbuster is unfolding at the exact same time, 8 p.m. BST, Tuesday, April 8, where Arsenal host Real Madrid in a clash that's been nearly 20 years in the making. This marks the first ever official meeting between the two sides at the Emirates, and the first time they've squared off in the Champions League since the 2005-06 season, when Thierry Henry's iconic goal helped Arsenal stun Madrid at the Bernabeu. Since then, Real Madrid have gone on to win 5 more Champions League titles, while Arsenal only recently returned to Europe's top table. Under Mikel Arteta, the Gunners demolished PSV 9.3 on aggregate in the round of 16, including a 7-1 away thrashing. However, their attacking firepower has cooled off lately, with just 7 goals in their last 5 matches. Over the weekend, they drew 1-1 with Everton, a clear move to rest key players ahead of this massive showdown. Arsenal are unbeaten in their last 10 UCL home games, but the task ahead is monumental: take down the 15-time kings of Europe. Real Madrid come into this one off the back of a mixed week. They lost 2-1 to Valencia on a gut-wrenching 90th-minute goal, but bounced back with a nerve-wracking penalty shootout win over Atletico. Despite the drama, Los Blancos have a staggering record. They've reached the Champions League quarterfinals in 12 straight seasons and haven't lost a first-leg knockout match in their last 8 ties. Arsenal, though, hold an impressive stat of their own. They've spent the most time in the lead during this year's competition, 568 minutes, and have only trailed for a total of 65 minutes. But Real Madrid are a different beast. They've defeated 111 different clubs in this tournament's history, and Arsenal are one of the last few left unscathed. If the Gunners falter at home, Arteta's men will need something close to a miracle at the Bernabeu. And as we all know, miracles tend to favor the teams that know how to create them. The next showdown brings us to Paris, where PSG host Aston Villa at 8 p.m. BST on Wednesday, April 9 at the Parc des Princes. But this one's not just about the clubs, it's also a fascinating reunion between two tacticians, Luis Enrique and Unai Emery. It's their first ever UCL meeting, but Emery knows the park all too well. It used to be his home. This season's PSG is a different animal, no longer relying on megastars like Neymar or Messi. They've become a disciplined, well-drilled unit. They wrapped up the Ligue 1 title with 6 games to spare, a whopping 24 points clear of Monaco, and are currently on a 6-game winning streak. In the round of 16, they lost 0 to Liverpool despite 27 shots, but turned the tie around at home thanks to Dembele and Donnarumma's brilliance in the shootout. Remarkably, PSG are the first club in UCL history to face all 4 English teams in a single season: Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, and now Aston Villa. As for Villa, they're riding high. Emery's squad sits 6th in the Premier League, just 1 point shy of the top 4. Since adding Rashford and Asensio in January, they've been on a roll, both in the league and the FA Cup. But here's a worrying stat. In 5 previous European visits to French clubs, Villa have never won. They've lost their last 2, including one under Emery himself. Emery doesn't have the best record against Enrique either. Out of 10 previous encounters, he's only managed 2 wins, and both of those came at home. Every time Emery has taken his team on the road to face Enrique, he's walked away empty-handed. One of the most painful memories? The infamous 6-1 loss to Barcelona in 2017, where PSG collapsed in one of the most historic comebacks in Champions League history. Sure, times have changed, but football has a long memory. This PSG side, though, is playing with a completely new mindset. They're no longer haunted by past failures. Their sights are set firmly on one goal: lifting the Champions League trophy for the very first time. The final first-leg match of the quarterfinals brings Barcelona face-to-face with Borussia Dortmund at the Luis Companys Olympic Stadium, 8 p.m. BST on April 10th. This season, Barca has turned their temporary home into a fortress, remaining unbeaten in the Champions League at this venue. Under Xavi, Barcelona are in red-hot form. They're unbeaten in 22 straight matches across all competitions, leading La Liga by 4 points over Real Madrid, and have already netted 83 goals in 30 league matches. In the Champions League, they've only lost once, and that came against AS Monaco in a match where they went down to 10 men. They've already beaten Dortmund 3-2 earlier this season in the group stage. Historically, Dortmund has never beaten Barcelona. And Xavi's got another ace up his sleeve. Hansi Flick, the former Bayern Munich manager, now his assistant, boasts a flawless record against Dortmund, 6 wins in 6 matches, averaging 3 goals per game. Then there's Robert Lewandowski, Barca's main man up front. Once a Dortmund icon, he's scored 27 goals in 27 matches against his former club since leaving. With 25 goals in La Liga and 9 in the Champions League this season, he's the nightmare Dortmund are hoping to avoid. On the Dortmund side, this season has been a roller coaster. After dropping as low as 14th in the Bundesliga, the club made a managerial switch, bringing in Niko Kovac to replace Edin Terzic. Since then, Dortmund has bounced back to 8th place, just 5 points off the Champions League spots, and recently picked up crucial wins over Freiburg and Mainz. Still, compared to Barcelona's form, those wins feel like baby steps. More worryingly, Dortmund has never won at Camp Nou or the Olympic Stadium. A trip to Spain to face a red-hot Barca side is a mountain they've yet to climb. They're riding a 6-game clean sheet streak, but Spanish soil hasn't been kind to them. In fact, Dortmund has won just once in 10 Champions League knockout matches on the road in Spain. And with Barca hungry for continental glory after years of drought, a heavy defeat for the Germans isn't out of the question. The Catalan side has been dominant all season long, and they'll be looking to capitalize at home. This year's Champions League quarterfinals are more than just elite matchups. They're emotional reunions laced with history. Martin Odegaard, once seen as Real Madrid's next big thing, now leads Arsenal into battle against his former club. In Paris, Unai Emery returns to the Parc des Princes, not as PSG's boss, but as the man at the helm of Aston Villa, a chapter in his career that sparked no shortage of controversy. Then there's Robert Lewandowski. Dortmund is a name etched into his DNA. He rose to stardom in the yellow and black, became a legend at Bayern Munich, and now stands as Barcelona's biggest hope. Over in the Bayern-Inter clash, all eyes will be on Benjamin Pavard. The Frenchman spent years wearing the red of the Bavarians, but now he's coming back to the Allianz Arena, donning Inter's blue and black. These reunions go beyond tactics, they're packed with raw emotion. When the past and present collide, no one wants to be swallowed by the weight of memory.